Greetings, Farmington Public Schools family. It's me, Dr. Bobby Hayes Goodrum, your interim superintendent at the time of this taping for 15 more days. I'm super excited about our guest today, who is Dr. Christopher Delgado, our incoming superintendent. Welcome, Dr. Delgado.
Thank you, Dr. Goodrum, and thank you for holding down the fort in your interim capacity and doing multiple jobs. I appreciate it.
It's been quite an adventure. Well, we typically just jump right into these things. So why don't you tell us, Dr. Delgado, what do you like about Farmington and why did you decide to join us here?
Well, thank you for the question. My wife and I moved to Farmington in 2000. I'll start from the beginning. I met my lovely wife, Leslie, of almost 30 years of marriage at Michigan State University. We both went into education and decided to start our life and marriage somewhere else. And so we moved out west to Colorado Springs. So we lived and worked and taught in Colorado Springs for 6 years. And we knew that if we had children, we probably would move back home, which we did. Two of our three children were born out there. And so in 2000, we were looking for a place to live and call home and raise our children. And Farmington was our number one choice. Farmington Hills area. We love the diversity of the area. It's reminiscent of where she and I grew up. She's from Youngstown, Ohio, and a very diverse community. I grew up in Southfield, right on the Detroit border. And so Farmington was very reminiscent of that. And then just a beautiful place to live, a beautiful place to work. Why I wanted to join you all. I live in the district. Our neighbors, we all speak highly of the district, and I just wanted to join a really progressive district that cares about kids and is literally in my backyard. So couldn't be more than happy to join everyone.
And we couldn't be more than happy for you to join us. We're super excited to have you. And so let's talk about it. You're starting on July 1st. What are some of the first things that you're going to do as you come into the district?
Sure. I've already tried to split balance between Walled Lake and Farmington, and I wanted to try before school let out to get to as many schools as I could and meet some teachers and staff. And so I was able to get to about 6 schools and meet as many children as I could and administrators and teachers. So that was the first thing that I began. But what's wonderful about education is we all have this sense of closure at the end of the year. And after this COVID year, we all need this closure. And so July has really always been a wonderful month of reflection and kind of think time. And so it will give me the opportunity to really kind of dig into all that Farmington is about, to not only look at data, but to get out to the community and meet many of the community members, our elected officials, some of our parent groups, some of the opportunity to meet business leaders and our law enforcement and really just to start to form those connections, those relationships that are so critical for a superintendent to really advocate within the community and abroad. And so some of the first steps will be those kind of meetings in July, and then a lot of reading, a lot of learning, data digging. And then in August, when teachers and administrators come back, we have some plans to look at that. In July is another great opportunity with our cabinet, which obviously you'll be on. And so we've met and to look at an opportunity for our cabinet to come together to do some team building, for our board to come together and do some team building and really kind of have some visioning for the upcoming school year and talk about the opportunities as well as the challenges.
Great. We are all looking forward to it. So tell us, let's go back a little bit further. Why did you decide to go into education in the first place? Like, what did you teach and what did you like about it?
Sure. Well, first of all, it's the best career. There couldn't be a better career. I hope anyone listening encourages people to go into education because we need teachers and we need good people who are committed to children. So my path was a little interesting. When I went to Michigan State, originally I thought I wanted to be a communications major. It was the time of ESPN and Sports Center and sports commentating, and I went to Southfield High School, WSHJ radio, and so I thought I would be on radio and on TV. And so I got to school and I went into communications, but I also applied for a job that was at the time called a minority aide, an MA. And I was in charge. I had a caseload of about 75 first-generation college students, Latino students from the area. And the more that I met with these families to work on retention, to help translate, for example, financial aid documents from Spanish to English and help their parents, I started doing outreach work in the Lansing area high schools and even the middle schools. And the more that I met with young people and I saw that they connected with me, it just made sense that there was a calling here, that there was a connection, and to be able to help encourage people to look at higher learning and to go into education, it really just solidified, my belief that I needed to change course. And then, of course, I met my lovely wife, and she was in education. And so we kind of liked each other well enough. So we thought a couple of teachers, this could be a pretty nice life. And almost 30 years later, 3 kids and 20 some years in education, we have that's come to fruition. So very happy with my career choice. I taught Spanish for almost 10 years, both in Colorado Springs. And then when we moved back here, I taught it in Birmingham at actually high school, middle school, and elementary school. So taught Spanish and history as well for a couple of years.
Awesome. So as you know, my real job is Assistant Superintendent for Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. I understand that is a strong interest of yours as well. What is your background in DEI?
Sure. So when I first went into administration, my first job was at Andover High School in Bloomfield Hills. And so, Bloomfield has a fair amount of diversity, but I really was hoping that there was a way for us to have our students at Andover connect with another school and to work on diversity and equity and inclusion efforts. And so I looked around the Tri-County area to try to find opportunities for our students to attend. And not surprisingly, Farmington was a leader in that. And so this was all the way back in 2003, 2004. And so Farmington, as you well know, the students ran their own conference, their own diversity conference. They invited students from all around the area, different schools. It was completely facilitated by students with the adults just helping. And so I asked if we could join. So that became a legacy of bringing our students to Farmington to interact with students from all around the area. So that kind of launched a springboard into student groups at the high school that I worked in. And then when I was a principal, to expand that, the establishment of our African American Parent Network, our commitment to social justice in the county. And when I moved to my current role as Deputy Superintendent in Walled Lake, we really latched onto Dr. J. Mark's social justice work through Oakland schools and had all 19 of our buildings go through the year-long training and really committed to the work of diversity, of equity and inclusion as it comes to curriculum, as well as student groups and acceptance. And so I have a long history and passion for that. And, it's something that I look very much forward to working with you. I know we have our audit that should be coming in here in the summer, and we're going to be sitting down to look at a diversity strategic plan. And so I'm very, very excited about the legacy of Farmington's great work, my experience, and then partnering with you and others to move it forward in Farmington.
Yes, we really, really, really are excited about continuing to move our work forward because, we've done a lot of things. And as you know, we can do better and we will do better. So we're super, super happy about that. So what about challenges? We hear about all the things that you're excited about, and not that you're not excited about challenges because, challenges give you the opportunity to learn new skills. But what do you think are some of the challenges that you're going to face coming into our district?
Sure. Well, I think with all school districts, top of mind really is COVID and what next year is going to look like. We know that parents want those answers now. We want those answers now. But to really stay abreast of what the latest recommendations are from the Oakland County Health Department and the state of Michigan on what school could look like. I know that Farmington has great mitigation strategies. You've implemented them all year. And so we will be prepared should we need to continue in some form or fashion with mitigation protocols. But we're all hoping to get back to some sense of normalcy. So I know that COVID will be a challenge, as we'll be offering the dual platform with some virtual offerings for the families who've selected that. And so I know there's been quite a bit of work that's done on that. The other thing is with any new position, and especially in a superintendent position, is to come into an organization and learn the history and learn kind of the Farmington way, if you will. And what I've learned in my 10 years as deputy superintendent is that our words carry weight. And so when we ask questions respectfully, really inquiring, why do you do things this way, or why was this decision reached, we have to be very careful that people don't feel that we're questioning, their prior decisions, that we're really sincerely, genuinely trying to understand kind of the thought process. And so that will be a challenge, but an opportunity is to not only endear myself to people, let them understand that they can trust me, they can talk to me, that I'm really sincerely, I want to learn about Farmington. I don't have preconceived notions of what I want to bring in or anything that I want to change. I want to learn what Farmington is about. And so, it just takes time. And I think one of the attributes I'm proud of is the visibility that I bring to the role, and being able to be in classrooms and in buildings and having that face time with people. Over time, you really get to form those deep and lasting relationships. And so that those will be probably, a couple of the big challenges working in. Of course, you and I are going to be working on our diversity, equity, and inclusion audit. There are challenges that we need to contend with. As I went through the interview process with community members and with administrators and teachers, I kept hearing the theme of healing, that people want to come together, that they want stability for the district. I am very, very excited about working with this Board of Education. I have met individually with them, and we're looking at planning a summer board retreat to come together. I know that they are committed, both individually and as a whole, to providing that stability with me. And I want to be here for a long time. I want to dedicate, really, I've said, the rest of my career to Farmington schools. And so it takes time to form relationships and, and to be honest about the challenges that we face. And looking forward to working with you and so many others on doing the good work for the good kids of Farmington Hills.
Awesome. Now, I know we asked you for 5 questions and you just were expecting the 5 questions, but I do always ask one gotcha question, and it's usually a fun question, so don't worry about it. So tell us, Dr. Delgado, this is a very, very, very stressful job. It can be stressful, very rewarding, but very stressful. What do you do to relax? What do you do when you are just trying to just defrag? What do you do?
Yep. Well, I always say you can't be good to an organization unless you're good to yourself. And ironically, you asked this question about stress. My dissertation was on the impact of occupational stress on administrators, because the job is so challenging and can be all-consuming that you really have to strive for that ever-evasive work-life balance. So one of my real joys in life is I play competitive soccer. So I still play men's soccer, and a couple times a year I play in national tournaments. And so I'm able to play every week. I just had a game last night, actually. And so to, get the juices flowing, get that adrenaline, I tell my wife it's probably the 2 hours a week that I don't think about anything other than the game and the competition. And then the camaraderie of the teammates. We've played together, some of us for almost 15, 20 years. And so to be able to do that and get an extra workout or two in during the week to try to get a good sweat helps kind of clear the mind. So I love to do that. And then not that I have much spare time, but I love to travel. My wife and I love to travel. We've been to Europe and Latin America and all around the United States. And so if we can steal away for a weekend or maybe a week here or there, then we'd like to find a new adventure and see a new place. So that's what I try to do.
Awesome. Well, we'll make sure to have some icy hot here in the, for some of those practices. What position do you play?
So I play up top. I play forward, and then sometimes some outside midfield. But and I used to be faster in back in the day. So now I play a different kind of forward, a holding forward, where I hold the ball and I let the faster kids in our over 40s league run off the ball.
I manage the men's soccer team at Howard University, so I am very familiar with soccer. So, but thank you so much, Dr. Delgado. This has been a wonderful conversation. We learned so much about you. I know that everyone in the Farmington community will welcome you with open arms as they see you in the community and in the schools. And we look forward to you beginning officially on July 1st. So, thank you again for coming by.
Thank you. And thank you to everyone for such a kind and warm welcome. It really has been a warm embrace from all parties. And, I just can't wait to get started.
All right. Thank you.